Yeah, that was the one from, he's the one that was.
I didn't tell you about it.
Oh, about that, I don't know, but somebody else was telling me that somebody, what was the security accreditation? Yeah, they had that special training.
Yeah, I guess they're going to do a very good chat as far as
I know the training is like more than just around security. Chicken farms, factory chickens. Castle, farms.
You know what? My mind's still young. My body isn't. It's okay. I'm not more than 75, maybe 76. 1964. October 64. I was walking down the hall. I started mid-year. You came in, I came in the spring, you came in the fall.
What are you talking about?
I was great.
I mentioned staff.
Yeah, well, nothing on that. I thought I was trying for you remember?
That's how
Yeah, but I'm not coming around. We're only too many Jewish people in town. You get a handful of the most.
I didn't last
If I live Italian, apparently I won't.
I didn't last there too long.
I didn't last too long either. I don't know, Ben. Brian's got a girlfriend. Comes over here at my house about 3 or 4 times a week. I'm working out with it. I'm joking. Talking here last year, talking here for everybody last year.
Shrimp chef out. This is this. Better be careful what you do. It says you just saw you your uncles and watch
I enjoyed it.
The defensive line knows about that. You know what? Defensive back.
Name-wise or talent, production-wise, I'm not sure yet. They gotta work on that. I think
I'm concerned about. I should say, number one priority on game is the team is off. I watch a lot of playing games. I tell you, basically average.
That's fine, that's fine. I'm watching. When you see her, I'm glad that this happens. Don't worry about it.
We're going to begin our service with military honors. I'm going to ask those who are able to rise. If you are currently serving in the military or have been honorably discharged from the military, you may perform the hand salute. Thank you.
Oh, so you can salute.
Been 6 years. grateful nation. Please accept this slide as a symbol of our appreciation for your most honorable and faithful.
Friends, we gather together this morning to celebrate the life and to honor the memory of Neil Koppelman. Neil's family so very much appreciates your being present with them this morning, which offers them a great deal of comfort and happiness. Adonai ma'adam v'teda ehu ben enosh v'chashvehu. O Lord, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath, our days are as a passing shadow. We come and we go like grass, which in the morning shoots up renewed, in the evening it fades and it withers. You cause us to turn to dust, saying, return, you mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood whither we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. They shall have peace. The author of the first of the Bible's 150 Psalms expresses for us in words both succinct and poignant the nature of the good life and the fruits of that life. Happy are those who have not followed the counsel of the wicked or taken the path of sinners or joined the company of the insolent. Rather, the teaching of God is their delight, and they study that teaching day and night. They are like a tree planted beside streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, whose foliage never fades, and whose fruit always flourishes. Let us join together now in the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Esa'enai el heharim me'ayin yavo ezri. I lift mine eyes unto the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. Yea, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul, your going and your coming, now and forever. Neil Koppelman passed away this past Wednesday, just a few minutes before noon. He had been ailing for quite a while, but he continued to fight for life throughout these difficult times. Yet, as one of his children described him, Neil still throughout remained himself, remained the person he had always been, to the end, a caring person who loved his family and continuously had them on his mind. Neil was born and raised in Cleveland, graduated from Cleveland Heights High School. Upon graduation, he matriculated at The Ohio State University. But these were the years of the ramping up of the Vietnam War, and soon Neil was drafted into the Army. Along the way, one of his superiors asked a group of recruits if any of them knew how to type. Fortunately, Neil did know how, and this enabled him to spend his time in the Army stateside. And another stroke of luck for Neil. One of his friends had connections with authorities. Neil's family thinks that that authority was none other than the current Secretary of Defense, Robert McNamara. And with this important connection, Neil was transferred to a base closer to home so that he could help care for his father, who was suffering from a terminal illness. And this also allowed Neil to help his mother to be at his father's bedside when he passed away. And in fact, not only did this lucky break allow Neil to care for his family, it also kept him from Vietnam because his unit was shipped off to the war soon after Neil was transferred. Upon being discharged, Neil, with his brother Marty, took over his father's steel business, which they shepherded until the early 1980s. Along the way, Neil formed the Midwest Air Charter Company, got his pilot's license, and with his partners flew the planes. Now, Neil owned many businesses during his lifetime. A partial result, according to his daughter Lauren, of his abiding entrepreneurial spirit. Indeed, Neil was always trying new things, always looking not only for a thriving business opportunity, but also for a new adventure and a new direction for himself. And so along the way, Neil owned, among other enterprises, an ice cream shop, a car lending business, a check cashing concern, and a used book business, the latter long before used bookstores hit the scene. Now, not only did Neil coax these businesses into profitability, he also used his business opportunities to help other people. When abortion was still illegal in the United States, Neil would fly people to Canada to be able to have the procedure. When in another business, one of his employees had to be let go because his job had been eliminated, Neil made sure that that person continued to have gainful employment, now in his own home. And Neil would regularly send gifts, Thanksgiving turkeys, for example, to his employees. Indeed, Neil would often take a chance and hire people that other businesses would not. Now, when I met with Neil's family last evening, I asked them to describe Neil's character to me. What kind of person was he? What were his most important personal attributes? Having asked these questions, his family responded with a cascade of descriptions. Neil, they told me, was easygoing, a great storyteller, funny, generous, loyal, honest and trustworthy, supportive, and caring. He had, they told me, the ability to tell stories that were funny, telling them in a grand and special way, stories that were mesmerizing and which often taught important life lessons. Now, when Neil was already in his mid-30s and had never been married, he met and fell in love with Sharon Johnson. They were married on June 24th, 1979. And at that point, Neil, all of a sudden, became a member of a family with 3 young children. And he immediately embraced all of them. never trying to be a replacement father for them, but always loving them and caring for them as if he had sired them. Indeed, as one can imagine, and as one of his children mentioned last night, this transition for Neil was not always smooth sailing. Becoming a stepfather to 3 teenage children. But Neil recognized and celebrated the fact that this family was enriching his own life, and also that his own relatives were enlarging the life experiences of these children. And Neil's family told me last night how much they appreciated Neil's intense devotion to them, how he regularly did things with them, supported them, gave them myriad opportunities to learn and to grow, and how, as Sharon, you said, Neil gave you a chance to live your own life and to pursue your own interests. I myself got to know Neil over the course of many years. I did not know him well, but I did know him well enough to be able to see his gentleness and his kindness, his quiet sense of humor, his integrity, his honesty, his authenticity, and his deep devotion to Sharon and his children. It was always a pleasure for me to see Neil and to spend some moments interacting with him. Neil is survived by his wife of 42 years, Sharon, his children, Lauren, Russell and Deanna, Tara and Stacy, by his grandchildren, Sydney and Emily, his brother and sister-in-law, Marty and Betty, and his brother-in-law, Don. He was predeceased by his parents, Harry and Henrietta, and by his sister, Janice. Neil was a hard-working and devoted husband, father, and friend, and he made an indelible impact on all who knew, loved, and admired him. Zichrono livracha. Neil's memory will always be our blessing. Amen. I now want to call on 2 members of Neil's family. First, his wife, Sharon. I'll sit down there if you need me.
Okay. This will be very hard for me. I like to be in the background, not in the forefront, but I will read you the first thing that my sister wrote, and I think it says a lot. Neil, you were the kindest, most generous, non-conversational person I knew in the world, where many people are often bickering and complaining. You had the great gift of allowing even little things to make you happy. Down to soft ice cream, which I plan to eat in your memory as I can get to Cleveland. You were like a really nice brother, always willing to do favors. When remembering people who have passed away, I've learned in Israel to say, may their memory be a blessing. My memory of you is surely a blessing to me. And that was recently from my sister. I have a few because all the family members are not with us, so I will read those as well. Russell is not able to be here, and his is quite lengthy, but pretty much to the point, and I'd like to read it. Neil has been a stepfather for 42 years. I've always found it amazing that Neil, an eligible, never married 35-year-old bachelor, would seemingly overnight become a husband and a father of 3 preteens. I've never gave him enough credit for that. Of course, he loved my mom and all of us. And he lived in a really cool house in the woods with a lake that I fished in. I can't say that Neil felt like a father to me. I don't mean that negatively. It's just that I have a father, so the role was taken. That doesn't mean he wasn't fatherly. Neil taught me a lot and opened up many experiences that I may never have had. And of course, the chores. Thanks to Neil, I've learned to drive, mow the lawn with an unnecessarily huge Kubota tractor. I experienced creosoting railroad ties. I chopped firewood. But he never cared that my room was messy. Neil was a great friend. His sense of humor always stood out. I developed an appreciation for practical jokes thanks to Neil. From the odd knickknacks he had lying around, the trinkets we exchanged at random times over the years, to his corny jokes at family get-togethers, Neil loved to laugh and bring joy to others. Neil wasn't the only one whose family instantly grew. All of a sudden, I had a new grandma, uncles, aunts, cousins, and friends. My life was enriched by all. We weren't always easy on Neil. Road trip to Disney World, anyone? But he took everything in stride. Neil learned to tune out what didn't matter long before he had no choice. Neil pioneered working from home. I'll give him credit for making it seem glamorous. I always liked visiting his office, a messy space that was all Neil's and contained some of the most cherished possessions, including his 8-track cassette and LP collection, mostly of music I didn't appreciate, except Harry Chapin and the Oak Ridge Boys. Neil sang "A Mean Elvira." Speaking of 8-tracks, Neil was an early technology adapter. I think he had every type of early video camera there was. I shot a home movie of Super 8 for a school project, and he starred as both a man going to work and an alien from Mars trying to eat. The soundtrack included Morning Train, 9 to 5, and Man from Mars. I need to find the film. My guess is it's somewhere in that office. As an adult, I enjoyed coming home and doing guy things with Neil, including hitting the shooting range and more often getting in around a golf, and his lifelong friends to good timers, followed by pub food and beer, of course. When I got married following Neil's footsteps, I became an instant husband, stepfather, and grandpa. Neil instantly embraced my new family and made them part of his. Neil's life and impact on me and everyone is much too large for a note like this. I am lucky. He was my stepfather and friend. I love him and will never forget him. This is a note from my niece that she sent me, and it also says some beautiful things about Neil. She wrote, "Sharon, it's so strange being so far away at this time. I feel like we haven't talked in ages. I hope you are all supporting each other. I can only imagine how hard this must be. I have been thinking about my memories of Neil from the summers I spent with you in Cleveland as a kid, and really wish I could be there to tell you how much that he means to me, and that his kindness and generosity were why I love being there. Neil taught me that there are warm and loving fathers that listen and care and smile and aren't preoccupied with work all the time. And I will forever be grateful that I feel lucky to have him as an uncle. I'm thinking of you and miss you. Please give Neil the strongest hug possible. And that's what was sent to me, and I wrote a little something, probably not as powerful of what they wrote, I don't know, but I tried. So, to my husband Neil, a friend to all, father, brother, uncle. Being up here is very, well, I already said sorry. I am blessed to have found such a person. I am forever grateful. He learned quickly what it was like to have an instant family. After 5 years, we were blessed to have Lauren. He gave us his all, and we had fun most of the time. Neil did not have a mean bone in his body and was never critical. We can learn from that. Neil loved his family, especially his granddaughter Sydney and lovely Emmy. He fought hard to stay with us. He loved life and made sure he experienced it with passion. His favorite thing when he became gravely ill, he would say to me, "Sharon, 1 minute," and pointed his index finger at me. Sometimes that minute became 30 minutes. He taught me how to have patience, real patience. Neil will forever be missed and forgotten and never forgotten. To my favorite person in the world, my husband, I love you. Thank you.
Now I want to call on Neil's daughter, Lauren.
My dad was one of my best friends, and one of my most favorite people in the world. When he became ill, I wrote him a letter, and I think it best describes how I feel about him, and it represents our relationship, and I'm going to read that letter for you today. Dad, you've influenced me more than you know. It's difficult to find the words that truly convey how much you mean to me and how much I love you. The person I am today is no doubt due to the invaluable lessons you've taught me over the past 35 years. I'm certain that you'll continue to teach me more life lessons as I grow older and forever carry you in my heart. I couldn't have asked for a better dad. When I look at you, I see what it means to be a great man, but more than that, a great human. You are my most favorite human in the universe. There are just a few things that you've taught me. How to balance a checkbook. That I can do anything that I put my mind to. Love, forgiveness, support, and perseverance. To save the box and receipt for everything because you never know. The purest form of selflessness. How to stand up for myself, to stand up for others, that no one is perfect, to appreciate my heritage, never take anyone or anything for granted, listen more than I talk, continue to educate myself on all things, current events, different cultures and religions, technology, finances, history, the list could go on. How to dance while standing on your toes. The meaning of having a strong work ethic. How to live life to the fullest. How to appreciate the past, reminisce, and tell the best stories. To always be kind and loyal. The true value of having a great sense of humor. I love you so much. Forever and always, your Munch. I'm gonna miss my dad more than I can express. He was truly a wonderful person who taught me everything. And I will carry that with me. I won't carry his memory.
O God of life, amid the ceaseless tides of change which sweep away the generations, your love remains to comfort us and to give us hope. Around us are life and death, decay and renewal, the flowing rhythm that all things obey. Our life is a dance to a song that we cannot hear. Its melody courses through us for a little while, then it seems to cease. Whence the melody and whither does it go? In darkness as in light, we turn to you, the source of life and the answer to all of life's mysteries. As you are able, I ask you please now to rise for the El Mole Rachamim. Of course. There's a stool right here.
You might have to help us. Stand up.
Okay.
The rabbi might have to help us. Sydney wrote something. Do you want to try? Do you want to try? I'm going to cry. Wait, can you speak in here? All right, help me. I honor this day. From
all the joyful moments for spending time with Grandpa. I really hope he feels everyone's love.
Love Sydney. Love Sydney. So Sydney wrote that for Grandpa.
That's great.
Thank you. Come on. Careful. Thank you.
Sure. Yomale Rachamim Shochem Bamromim. Hamtze Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShchina. Im Kadoshim Utahorim Kazohar Arakia Mazhirim. Et Nishmat Daniel Ben Svi and Henrietta. Shahalach La'olamo. Bala Rachamim Yastireo B'Seter Ganafav La'olamim. V'yitzvor Bitzvor HaChayim Et Nishmato. Adonai hu nachalato v'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo v'nomar amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Neil Koppelman, our loved one who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace. And let us say together, Amen. You may be seated. I want to announce that our service will continue now at graveside at the Hillcrest Cemetery. Once again, on behalf of the family, we appreciate your presence here this afternoon. It is hard to overestimate the power of other people putting their arms around the family, whether literally or figuratively, at a difficult time like this. And we're grateful for your presence. This concludes our service.
Please rise.
Together.
Friends can return to their cars. If you're going to the cemetery, please put on your headlights and your hazard lights. Thank you.
You know what I'm thinking about? Back by the
Yeah. Wonder best.
It's not always working with them. He was there for a year. When they had issues with the zoning, they just kind of fell off. It's very much you're going to